Hello, and a huge welcome to wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's Postgrad Insight session. Today, we'll be focusing on LLM specials in the USA and Canada with our special guest today, Case Western Reserve University School of Law. Just before I hand you over to today's guests, Liz and Michael, what we're going to run through today in terms of the presentation from Case Western, followed by a brief introduction on Postgrad and LLM, details on how you can sign up for a £500 bursary, alongside details of the upcoming Postgrad Insights. But for the time being, I'd like to introduce you to both Liz and Michael from Case Western Reserve University. They'll be taking you through a presentation for the next 20 to 25 minutes. And just a reminder at the end, there will be a live Q&A as well. And if you have any questions, to put that in the Q&A facility, or if you're watching on social media today, please put it in the comment section at the bottom of the post. But for now, Liz, Michael, over to you. I'll let you share your screen, and I'll see you at the end for the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Gareth. I'm going to kick things off. I'm Michael Scharf. I am the Dean of Case Western Reserve University School of Law. I've been Dean for the last 8.5 years, and I've been teaching here for 20 years. And we're going to tell you all about our law school and hopefully encourage you to decide to come and get your LLM degree at our law school. My own background is that I started my career in the Office of the Legal Advisor at the U.S. Department of State. I started an NGO called the Public International Law and Policy Group, which has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for the work it's done in peace negotiations and war crimes work. My specialization is in the area of war crimes. And just about 2 months ago, I got to argue a case before the International Criminal Court's Appeals Chamber in The Hague. But in my day job, I am the person who runs the law school and works very closely with our LLM students, along with Liz and her colleagues. Our law school is 128 years old. It's one of the oldest law schools in the country. It's one of the most distinguished law schools in the country. We began our LLM program 30 years ago. So we've really figured out how to make this work well. And in fact, the International Jurist has ranked us repeatedly as one of the top LLM programs in the world. So our university, which the law school is part of, is one of the top universities in the world, according to Times Higher Education, the QS World University Rankings, and US News and World Report. And our law school, as I mentioned, has one of the top LLM programs. It's been around for 30 years. It's especially known for the student experience. And what that means is not only do we prepare you to take the bar in the United States, if that's what you want to do, or to practice law internationally or in your home country, but we make sure that the time you spend here is not just rewarding, not just difficult and challenging, but also really enjoyable. And we do that by creating a family atmosphere and spending a lot of effort to get you immersed in the culture of the United States and to get to know the JD students, the American students who are at our law school, so that when you leave here, you leave with more than just knowledge and a degree, you leave with friends and a family. We're also really good at some specializations: international law, intellectual property, business and corporate law, and environmental law are among the areas that we are best known. Our faculty is also incredible. We have faculty that teach in every area, and they are ranked 30th best out of all the law schools in our country. There's over 200 law schools, and they are frequently cited in articles by courts. They argue before the US Supreme Court and international courts. And when you leave here, you're going to have faculty mentors who are known throughout the world. Here is the list of the top schools for international law in the United States, and you'll see that Case Western is right up there with the very best of them. And other schools, which I'm sure you've heard of, like Harvard, not quite as good as Case Western when it comes to international law. So that's something to keep in mind. Next slide.
I'd like to tell you about our LLM degree programs. We have 4 LLM degrees. The first one, US and Global Legal Studies, is our general LLM degree. It allows students to take classes in a variety of different subjects. It's also the best LLM degree to sit for a US bar exam because you can choose the subjects that are tested on the US bar exam so that you prepare to pass the exam. It also offers you some flexibility so that you can get a concentration. It's kind of like a minor. 10 credits of the 24 credits that are required for the degree can be in a specific subject, and we let you name that subject. So it could be health law, bankruptcy, investment law. Those are just some of the concentrations that students have pursued recently. Our LLM in international business law is our most popular LLM degree. It's a specialized degree, as are the next 2 degrees. That means that aside from the 3 classes that are required of all LLM students, all your classes are in business law. And same for intellectual property law and international criminal law. And as you remember from our rankings and where we've been recognized, our LLM degree programs reflect the strengths where we're well ranked nationally. We do have students who stay for a Doctor of Juridical Science degree. It's like a research degree equivalent to a PhD. And we have students who graduate from our LLM program and continue also to our Juris Doctor degree. So those degrees are can be pursued after the LLM degree. Do you want to talk about this, Michael?
Yeah, sure. So I assume that most of you are interested in getting your LLM because you realize that it is really going to propel you in your career, whatever you do. Because we've had our LLM program for 30 years, and it's the 5th largest LLM program in the United States, we have a huge alumni network. And our LLMs are interested in helping our graduates and our students get a head start in their field. So we have over 1,300 LLM alumni in 60 countries around the world. And we get you started right while you're here in the United States, in Cleveland, by having you attend the Greater Cleveland International Lawyers Group, which meets once a month downtown in the famed City Club of Cleveland. And we'll have little buses that take you the 10 minutes down there. We all go down together and we'll sit you at tables with about 100 lawyers in town that are doing international trade and international business. We also have the international section of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association and the Greater Cleveland Chinese Chamber of Commerce, who are very involved with our LLM students. When you, and Liz mentioned this, but when you take our LLM degree, if you want, you can sit for the US bar exam. And you can do that in New York because that's one of the most popular ones. And it's the one where if you have a foreign degree, it's the easiest to sit for. But because of something called the Uniform Bar Exam, which has been adopted in 38 states around the 50 United States, you now can transfer that bar passage into Ohio and into 38 other states without having to take the exam again. So it's getting much easier to take just one bar exam and practice in many different places. In addition, we have externships that you can take, and we have internships, and we have the ability, if you want, to spend an extra semester and do a deep dive beyond the LLM courses that you've taken for your core 24 credits. Liz, do you want to add anything else to that?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, going back to what we do to make this a great student experience that we've been recognized for among LLM programs in the United States is our university provides a lot of support to international students. We have a lot of international students at the university as a whole. And they provide extra classes in pronunciation and US culture. There's free spoken English language tutoring, course, we expect you to do well on the TOEFL or the IELTS, but you need to continue developing your language skills while you're here. We have JD and SJD students who tutor LLMs in our required subjects. We also have American JD students who sign up to serve as mentors to the LLMs. And those students are maybe in their second or third year of law school, and they can tell the new international students how to make the best of the legal classroom in the United States, and how to enjoy campus activities and how to enjoy activities in Cleveland. Also, one of our classes takes students down to the US federal courthouse to watch court proceedings and meet with the judge. It's one of the highlights of the school year. And getting back to our alumni, I'll just quick go through it. Francois Philippe Champagne is one of our famous alums. He serves in the Trudeau administration in Canada. This gentleman is a partner at an Indian law firm where the Indian Bar Association recognized him as Technology Lawyer of the Year. This gentleman is partner at Baker McKenzie, one of the largest international law firms in the world, working in Thailand. And this woman is the lead lawyer for Siemens China, having gotten her undergraduate law degree at Fudan University. So Dean Scharf, will you tell us a little bit about Cleveland?
I will. And before I do, I just want to say that our alums have done such amazing things. And one of the things that they all say is that the LLM from Case Western is the key that unlocked their successful careers. Now, you're going to hear, if you're looking at other schools about the West Coast, it has beaches, and the North Coast or the East Coast has giant cities. But Cleveland is really, really an amazing city. And one of the things that makes it amazing is its location. We are one day's drive from most of the major cities and half the population of the United States. So this map here shows you the dot in the center is Cleveland, and from one day's drive, you can get to Boston, New York, Washington, DC. You can get down to Charlotte, North Carolina. You can go to Chicago or Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. All of those things are a quick drive. And then other like amazing places, you can go up to Toronto. It's in a foreign country, it's in Canada, it's only 3 hours away. And one of the places that many of our students like to go to is Niagara Falls, which is the biggest waterfall in the world. It's only 3 hours from our doorstep. Now, this is a picture of what our law school looks like. It's the school with the green roof next to the school, which is our business school with the silver roof. And to the right of it is our botanical garden. Our school is in an incredible location. There's no law school in the world that can say, like we do, that we are surrounded by 7 cultural institutions, all within about 100 yards from our front door. So if you go out the front door, you get to the Cleveland Botanical Gardens, which is a huge indoor place as well as an outdoor place where even in the cold of winter, it's always Costa Rica hot or Madagascar hot. Right next to it, and this is the building just above the law school on this picture, is the Cleveland Museum of Art. That is the second best museum in the United States. Now, the first best is the Met, the Metropolitan in New York City. The third is the Smithsonian in Washington, DC. We're right there in between those. It's free. There is a big food court and an atrium so that our students can go over during study breaks and enjoy Monets, Van Goghs, and hanging out with their friends while they eat there. Wait, just before you turn, Liz, just going back to that picture, you can see that we're just a couple of minutes from downtown Cleveland. Those are the skyscrapers in the background. And you also have the Great Lake Erie, which is one of the biggest lakes in the world, right at our doorstep. Now you can turn. Thanks, Liz.
Yeah.
So this next picture is looking down at our school, and it shows you that we are in the middle of this big park. There's a lake. There's all these cultural institutions. In addition to the two that I mentioned, there's the Natural History Museum that has a zoo. There's the Crawford Automobile Museum. There's Severance Hall, where the Cleveland Orchestra plays. And the Cleveland Orchestra is now ranked 6th best orchestra in the whole world. And our students get discounted students, and they go there regularly, especially the LLM students who have a lot of good cultural taste. They love to go there. We have a modern museum of art and several other institutions right around our doorstep. It's such a beautiful place to be in school. Next slide. So just here's some pictures of Cleveland. If you don't know Cleveland, we're famous because we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We are the place where rock and roll started. And there's a picture of our students in front of that at the top left. Next to that is our nightlife. We have outdoor eating on 4th Street, which is very European-like atmosphere. Next to that on the right is Lake Erie. We have beautiful beaches. Lake Erie, as I said, is this giant lake. You can't see across it. On the other side is Canada. It would take a long time to sail across. There are islands in the lake that have wonderful, fun things to do, and you can take a ferry across or a sailboat across. You can rent sailboats, you can rent kayaks, you can rent motorboats and jet skis. You can hang out on the beach. It's a really nice place to enjoy life on the shores of Cleveland. Then on the bottom row, you see the picture of our art museum from above, our botanical garden, and the inside of Severance Hall. This is a school that you want to go to if you want to enjoy more than just your books. You want to have a full cultural immersion. And there's nowhere that does it quite like we do.
Let me tell you just a little bit about qualifying for admission. We have a wonderful partnership with ELS, and we're one of the few universities in the United States that has an ELS school right on our campus. And the ELS school is a 5-minute walk from the law school. So we can offer students conditional admission based on their undergraduate degree grades and give them time to improve their English at ELS. And when they graduate from ELS 111 or 112, they qualify for admission instead of having to take TOEFL or IELTS. So we do allow students to start their LLM degrees either in the fall semester or the spring semester. We've extended our application deadline for fall 2022 to May 10th. So it does take a little time to get an I-20 and a visa and that kind of thing to get ready for the fall semester. So we encourage you to submit your applications as soon as possible. We pride ourselves on having an easy application process. It's a PDF. It's posted on our website. It's easy to fill out. You can email it to llmsjd@case.edu and attach the documents. Scan copies of your transcript, your personal statement, and 2 letters of recommendation. And we'll let you know about admission and scholarship within a week of your completing the application for admission. Generally, we're looking for these kinds of TOEFL and IELTS scores. Students who score between 70 and 79 and 6.0 are required to come to our on-campus Summer Language and Law Institute. It's 3 weeks. It's a great time to get introduced to common law, how to read case law, analyze it, and summarize it. Even if students who are not required to attend often do end up enrolling. And students who score especially high on the IELTS or the TOEFL are eligible for 20% tuition scholarships. We also have a new online summer language and law program. If you're thinking about an LLM in a year or two, not for fall 2022, but you just want to learn a little bit more about the US law and the US legal classroom, we have an online version for students who are not yet ready to enroll in an LLM program. And it's live online instruction with our quality LLM professors who will give you a lot of personal attention. And we ask that students apply for that by June 15th. Again, the PDF application is posted on our website, and we do accept Duolingo scores to qualify for that online summer program. And that about concludes our presentation. Is there anything else you might want to add, Dean Scharf?
No, I'm starting to see these Q&As come in on the chat, and I liked one of them. They said, what's the campus like? Is it a student vibe town? I'd say it definitely is. So right around the corner from our law school is this area called Uptown. And it is an area that is relatively new. It has all these stores and restaurants on the ground floor. And above that, it has kind of swanky apartments that a lot of students live in. And that's a place where there's lots of bars, lots of nightlife. It's really quite the student vibe. And then downtown, of course, in Cleveland, it's a lot of fun. And in addition to all the restaurants and bars, we also have these major sports teams that bring a lot of excitement to the town. So there's the Cleveland Guardians, which is our baseball team, the Cleveland Browns, which is our football team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which won the NBA title just a couple of years ago when they had LeBron James, and they're doing real well again. We even have ice hockey. And one of the things about Cleveland, it's a smaller city compared to like New York City, Washington, or Boston. It's a lot easier to go to those events. And so while you're at our law school, we're going to organize outings so that you will be really enjoying all that Cleveland has to offer.
Excellent. Michael, Liz, thank you both very much for that. We are going to have a live Q&A now. You know, you said that you saw the questions coming through. But at this stage, a huge welcome to all our podcast listeners as well, and to those of you watching and listening on social media. Liz, Michael, one of the questions I want to ask to begin with, and I love your enthusiasm and the passion for the region. It's making me want to book a holiday almost. It's fantastic. Can you talk to me again about the region? Because one of the things that haven't been touched upon, and I think it's important, is affordability. There's the hustle and bustle of major cities. You showed the map with the region earlier. Can you talk to me about how expensive is it to live in Cleveland in not such a busy city? And likewise, is it a diverse student population? Is there a lot of international students? If you want to share that with us.
Sure, those are all great questions. So first of all, a big reason a lot of people choose Cleveland is because it's actually the housing costs and the living expenses are about 1/3 of what it costs to live in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., LA, some of the other places you might be looking at. And that will really make your dollar go a long way. And that's just because, as you said, Gareth, we're off the beaten trail. We're in the Midwest. We're a smaller city, but it's a lovely place. And you can really either get a much bigger apartment or live for much less expense in a regular sized apartment while you're here. We have so many apartments, just a very short walk from our law school. So we don't put people up in dorms for less than the price of a dorm at another school. You're going to be able to get your own really nice apartment and live and enjoy all that the city has to offer. Now, the university itself is quite an international university. It's internationally known. It brings people in from all over. And our law school as well, 25% of our students are foreign students at our law school. And so, and they're not all from one region either. We have a lot from all over Asia, a lot from the Middle East, but also from Europe, Africa, and South America, as well as Canada. So you're really going to be exposed to the best people from all over the world. And we have not just the LLM degree, but you can transfer into our JD degree or take our SJD degree. And the SJDs who are around are basically people getting the equivalent of a PhD who are foreign lawyers. They're going to go back and teach at different universities around the world. And so when you graduate here, you're going to know like 50 or 100 classmates that went off and became law school professors in all these different countries around the world. I mean, what a great network to create.
Excellent. And we've seen your alumni earlier as well, and I'm sure there's an endless list of it. And you name dropped some of the sporting giants within the region as well. So it's a very well-known region, well-known area, and being so close to Canada and the other cities, like you mentioned, less than a day's drive away, it's so important to remember. Now, Liz, one of the questions that's come through is about why you guys are so high in the standards. Now, Dean Scharf mentioned earlier on about being above Harvard, I think it is, for specific LLM. So what makes Case so good at what they do? Is it the classes? Is it the class sizes? Is it the type of learning? Talk to me about that.
Well, I'll start off and then I'll let Dean Scharf chime in. But one of them is that we established our LLM program about 30 years ago. We were one of the first law schools in the United States to establish an LLM program just for international students. So we've grown the program since that time, but we've always prided ourselves on offering students an outstanding student experience. So supporting the international students, getting to know them, developing a community among students, and with staff and faculty as well. That's one of the things that makes our LLM program really stand out. And I would say another thing would be, the larger university as a whole. It's very well ranked. It's in the top 40 in the United States. And, we have an outstanding business school, and we have an outstanding medical school and other schools too. And our law school participates with these other schools in certain degree programs and concentrations here. And that well-ranked university as a whole attracts 1,100 or so international students from all over the world every year. So that's part of what makes us outstanding. What would you add, Dean Scharf?
I would say I don't want to criticize our competitors, but what you'll see at a lot of schools is that the LLMs are sort of ignored. They're treated as second-class citizens. They don't have access to career development. There's not a lot of integration with the JD. When we created our program, we created it with the idea that we wanted to be different than all of that. We wanted to reach out to foreign LLMs to have them come and have the best experience possible. So we have our LLMs, they can use all the resources available at our law school, including the Career Development Office. We help them get internships. We do so much socially with them, and a lot of it is very well organized, because we know when you first arrive somewhere new in a foreign country, you're a little bit shy and tentative. And so the first week you get here, we're going to have this giant LLM picnic. And there's going to be lots of JD students that are going to join you. It's going to be at the Case Western Reserve Farm. And we have a faculty student rock band. I told you that Cleveland is the home of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, yes. the birthplace of rock and roll. Well, we're the only law school with a faculty student rock band, and we're the only law school whose dean, me, plays guitar and sings in the rock band. And that makes it really fun, because you'll get to know your faculty in a different kind of way. And that's right from the first week when you get there. So you're going to feel very welcomed, embraced, comfortable, and that's the best way, I think, to enjoy a foreign LLM degree.
Of course, and can we elaborate a little bit further on the LLMs as well? Career opportunities off the back of that. You will know, having been a dean for many years now, exactly where students can go. We mentioned the alumni earlier. Just talk to me about where a student can go from Case Western and what they can go on to achieve, and perhaps the next step from here.
Well, some people want to come and get the LLM in the United States so they can practice in the United States. And we have many LLMs who are practicing in New York City and in Cleveland and in Washington, D.C. and in other cities around the country. Our law school, although it's in Ohio, it's not a regional law school, it's a national law school. So our alumni are spread out, not just all over the world, but all over our country. Only about a third of our students are actually from Ohio. People come here from all over for our program, and then they go out all over. But then when you're back home in your home country, the LLM degree in general from the United States is a really helpful degree in your career. And often it'll help you get jobs at big law firms, at businesses, in the general counsel's office. It can help you in government. And it is really something that will distinguish you from the other lawyers in your country, especially if you're going to do a practice that involves international business. And you know what? Now, almost all business is international. So if you're going to be working at any law firm or any business, you've got to know how it works worldwide. And that's really what we're best at.
Excellent. And I've got to touch upon it. Some questions have been asked. I feel are a little bit personal to them. But can you talk to me about the tuition and aid? And I noticed earlier on you had the tuition costs on there, but ultimately things do come down to money, especially in the modern day world where everything seems so expensive in the world, no matter how affordable you are. But can you just talk to me about the scholarship opportunities and how much it's going to cost?
Liz?
Yeah, so the tuition is $58,500 for this upcoming academic year. And for students who have strong TOEFL and IELTS scores, meaning 90 on the TOEFL and at least 7.0 on the IELTS, we do give students a 20% tuition scholarship. And that's awarded at the time of admission. And that does help defray some of the costs of attending.
You know, and I will say, we'll make no bones about it. We're an expensive school, but you pay for the quality, and you really get your money's worth when you come to our school. You really do.
And the other thing, just to reiterate, is that you'll be in a city that's not as expensive as some of the other cities that are larger. So you're going to find that the cost of housing and that kind of thing will be less expensive when you get here.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And in terms of the process of applying, the application process, how long typically? I mean, some people have asked, I've applied and how, I'm at this stage, can you tell me? But generically, can you tell me how long the stage takes from I've applied to, being accepted and then essentially taking on the course?
Yeah, we do our admissions process on a rolling basis. So once all the documents are in, students hear within a week about admission and they hear about scholarship at the same time. So that's really important for conditional admission if you still have yet to enroll at ELS to complete your English. And it's also really important because you still have to apply for an I-20 and a visa and that kind of thing. So the easier and more efficient the admissions process, you'll find the better it is for applicants, and that's what we offer.
Yeah. And even though our admission deadline is April 1st, mostly that's about making sure that people get their visas in time to get here in the summer. So if the visas are being done efficiently, we could take people a little bit later. And so we are a bit flexible about the actual admissions deadline. Right.
So I'd said that, like, for anybody watching who's still interested in fall 2022, we'd like to encourage you to complete your application no later than May 10th.
Perfect. I suppose there's two more questions. I think one just came to my mind then as well. You've spoken about the region and the area in Cleveland. One thing we haven't spoken about, and it just briefed me then to say it because you mentioned about international students, is accessibility. Airports, is it simple to get to the campus?
Yeah,
do you guys help, especially in a COVID world where it's been so up in the air recently? Have you been helping, and what have you been doing?
So a couple of things in that. First of all, we do have an international airport, and it is easy to get to. And there is something called the RTA, which is public transportation that goes from the airport right to our campus. And there's also buses that go all over the city, including all the different neighborhoods that students like to have. There's shuttle buses and larger buses. It's really an easy city to get around. But also, most of the apartments that our students live in are a very short walk to campus. So you don't need to have a car. You don't always need to have buses even, because it's so easy to get back and forth. Now, about the COVID, we were one of the early campuses to require everybody to be vaccinated. And we have had a very incredibly low rate of COVID on our campus. We created a nice little bubble of health here. For a long time, we were requiring masks, but now like most of the United States, with the numbers so low, we're not requiring masks. And things have been coming back to normal, but we're a university that's very health conscious. We have a giant hospital called University Hospital that's associated with our university. And so we are one of the leaders in both the science and research about COVID and other infectious diseases, and also in our very excellent response to it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add about the airport is that this is part of the student experience, is that our LLMs and SJD students who are currently enrolled pick up the new LLMs and SJD students at the airport. So the first time you arrive in Cleveland, you're going to meet a student who's going to drive you to campus, and you'll make that instant connection and get that person advice and information as that person drops you at your new apartment.
Okay. One final question. Sorry if you want to elaborate on anything further. I will give you the opportunity in just a second. And this will be the final question as well. More have come through. But you mentioned about the online opportunity earlier, about if you just want to get a feel about what American law is like, about the court of law. Do you offer any opportunities to study the course fully online? Is that the norm? And if it's not, I mean, I kind of know the answer to that, but if it's not, why is that seen as that way?
Yeah, we were offering our LLM classes online earlier during the early stages of the pandemic. We've since required everybody to come to campus, and we feel that it enhances the experience for networking with American JD students, with lawyers from all over the world. It enhances your understanding of the United States and what you learn about US culture and everything. There's a lot of benefits to doing it online, to doing it on campus. So we do have the introductory summer program online, and that's just 3 weeks, and you can get a taste of what your LLM degree program would be like on campus.
Okay, D. Scharf, would you like to elaborate further?
Yeah, no, I'll just say one other thing. If you want to get the experience of what it's like to take some of our courses, I have a free online course on Coursera on international criminal law. You can just Google that, and it's absolutely free to take. And it's 8 modules. You don't get course credit for it, but it's just like being in one of my classrooms. But I have to say, what Liz is saying is absolutely right. If you're an LLM, you want to go to the country. You want to immerse yourself in the culture. You want to spend a lot of time learning the language by speaking with people that are from that place, going to movies with them, going to sports events. And that's why we do not have an online alternative for your year of the LLM. We really want you here because that's where you'll get the best experience.
Yeah, and I knew the answer to that, but there'll be plenty of people that will question it and go, "Oh, why not?" But that is seen as an industry-wide kind of statement, to be honest with you. You know, like you mentioned there, it is all about the whole responsibility of studying an LLM, coming over to the USA, moving out, maybe getting out of your comfort zone and whatnot. So, Michael, Liz, thanks for your time. It's been a fantastic Q&A. Just a reminder at this stage that if you are listening to us on the podcast, that is the end of the session. And if you're watching live on our webinars today, I'd just like to take you through exactly what Postgrad.com and LLM Study have to offer. So Postgrad.com, who are at the universal website in terms of postgrad learning, have over 10 million students go onto their website to find their perfect PG program. That ranges from LLM courses, law, to all other types of different courses around the world. High caliber international scholarship providers such as Chevening and Marshall also are partners with us. Best advice and everything, very much to what we've discussed today with Dean Scharf and Liz. Careers, English language support, funding, subjects, so much more, and eligibility to win one of our £500 bursaries. Now, LLM Study is very similar, but much more niche, more aimed towards the LLM market. Over 150 law schools are promoting themselves on our website, comprehensive database of all LLM programs taught in English worldwide. Also more Latino courses as well in different languages. So please head over to LLM Study if you are interested. I mentioned earlier about our £500 bursaries. Who is eligible, and does it conflict with anything else? No. So everyone is eligible. You can apply for now, whether you're starting in September, January next year, or even September next year, from any country, studying any way, any mode, at any time. So please head over to our website and get registering. You will get a link at the end of this. And finally, just to wrap up today's session, just to give you an idea about what's coming up. So today we've been with Case Western Reserve University School of Law, outlining the fantastic opportunities. In a few weeks' time, we'll have UC Davis, followed by Temple Law School on the East Coast, as well as Suffolk in Boston. And then we head over to Canada, not too far away from today's hosts and guest speakers from Case Western, to Osgood in York in Canada. So, but for now, a huge thank you to Dean Scharf and Liz at Case Western Reserve. It's been fantastic to have you both, and thanks for helping organise this. And we
Thanks,
hope to see you
Gareth.
both.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much. Take care.